Hello and welcome to Design Alpha. This video is part 2 of a mini-series I'm making to teach different ways to make animations using SketchUp. In part 1, we created a basic turntable style video using just what was in SketchUp itself, the link to which can be found in the description below. However, today I'll be displaying how to create a stop motion styled animation just like the one you can see playing in the background. A disclaimer, to be able to complete this method, you will require Adobe Acrobat, which can be accessed for free using a student license from the Adobe suite. Let's get started with the tutorial. So first of all that we want to do is we want to set up our camera for whatever position we want the animation to play through. So in our example here, I've set up this small scene. If you pretend that these rectangles are buildings and we have our little character here, this lady with her little cat, and if, let's say for this animation, we wanted this lady to be walking down this path in a stop motion style, therefore taking a frame at every little increment that she makes. So we would want to set up our camera at an angle that captures this entire scene. Something like this would be rather nice. First, what we want to do is lock the camera in place. This can be done by going up to the top here and clicking on View, and then going down to Animation and adding a scene. Click Create Scene. Now, if ever you accidentally move your camera while you're trying to take the photo, you can click back onto Scene 1 and it will automatically take it back to place. So, let's get started with making our frames. If we want to move whatever object you want, make sure it is selected so that you have a blue box or it is highlighted blue, and then go to the Move tool. And it is up to you how many frames you want to make for your animation. The more frames, the smoother the animation will look. However, for the purposes of this video, I will keep it relatively short and simple. To first create your frame, you want to make sure that you're clicked off of anything that's been highlighted. This can be simply done by clicking out of the scene. To make your frame, you want to go to File, down to Export, and as a 2D graphic. You can save it to wherever you want on your computer, and go ahead and name it anything you want, but for this purpose, we will call this Frame 1 and press Export. The reason it's best to name your frames is to prevent any confusion and to make it much easier to organize it when we move into Adobe Acrobat later in the video. For the next frame, click on your object and go to the Move tool and move it to wherever you want. I'll stop it at the end of this path here and click out and do it again. File, Export, 2D graphic. To make it easier to name your frame, you can click on the previous one and simply go down and move up to the next number. Continue to do this as many times as you want, and I will see you at the end once I've finished all of my frames for this scene. Once you're finished setting up your frames for your animation and you're happy and ready to move on to putting it all together, you'll have to start up Adobe Acrobat, so I'll see you in there. Okay, now that we're in Adobe Acrobat, you're going to want to go to your Tools section where you can see all the different tools labeled here, and you want to go down to where it says Combine Files. Click on Open, and then to Add Files. What you want to do from there is go to wherever you've stored your frames from the previous step. I've just made a simple folder called Stop Motion Animation, and I've got all my frames labeled here. And what you want to do is you can either do it like this, where you simply with your mouse hold your left mouse button and drag over all of the different frames that you have, or alternatively, you can click on your first frame at the top and then holding your Shift key on your keyboard, clicking on the last frame at the end, and then pressing Open. You'll see all your frames listed here, and what you want to do is just check that as long as you've labeled them like I recommended in the previous step, as 1, 2, 3, and so on. Just make sure that they're all labeled in the correct order so that the animation plays out in the correct way smoothly. Then you want to go up to the top where it says Combine. Okay, now that we have all of our frames laid out, you can see that they've all been placed over here. And here I've shown the figure walking through this pathway. So before you move forward, you want to go down to this icon on the bottom right, click on that and make sure you have viewing in single view for each one of the different frames, and make sure that you have fit to width, as you can see there, checked as well. When you have all those checked, you're going to want to go on the left hand side where it says Organize Pages. Click on that and you'll see all the frames listed here. Sticking on the left hand side, you want to go to Page Transitions. Open that and you'll see here we have Page Transitions, Auto Flip and Page Range. Now with the transition, you can choose whether you want it to stay on a transition like one of these that have been preset by Adobe Acrobat, or for the true stop motion style, you would want to leave it to no transition. Then you want to go to here where it says Auto Flip, make sure that is ticked, and once again, if you want it to have a stop motion style and feel, you would want this counter over here to be less than a second. I find something like 0.3 to be quite nice. Lastly, if there are certain pages you want to be stop motion and the rest you want to be still, for example, you would physically go and highlight them, as you can see with number 4 here, making sure you hold down the Shift key as you click on each frame, and all the ones that are highlighted with this light blue will have the effect turned on. However, if you simply just want all the frames to be part of the stop motion animation, you would go here where it says All Pages and Document. Make sure that's ticked, and finally hit the OK button. And then you can go back to the original page. Now it doesn't look like much has changed. However, now if we go to here, back to the bottom right, make sure we've gone to the very top first, so that we're at frame 1 where your animation will be starting. Go to the bottom right and click on full screen mode. And now our stop motion animation plays just fine. Now, unfortunately, this is only a one-time animation. It will not repeat because it is just the one Adobe file going through the different frames. However, if you wanted to have these frames repeat after continuously, then you would have to go and make what is known as a GIF, which I will be making on a video soon in part 3 of this series. So if that is of interest to you, stick around for that. And besides that, you're going to want to escape out of this. If you're finally happy with all the pages that have been made and the animation that has resulted, you want to go up to here where it says this has this little folder icon, and click on that to save to your computer, as you can see there. And you can either you want to save this as a new long PDF file. And there you have it. Whenever you or someone else opens this PDF in full screen mode, as previously shown, your stop motion animation will play. As stated, if you want to make an animation like this continuously repeat forever, stay tuned to this series, as in part 3, I'll be going over how to create animated GIFs using Photoshop. You can stay updated as soon as that video comes out by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. Thanks, and have a good one. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider liking it and subscribing to my channel for more design-related tutorials posted regularly. Stick around for more exciting features coming soon to Design Alpha.